Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Oxhorn and welcome to a lived-in settlement build of the Warwick Homestead. This is one of my older settlements, one of the very first ones that I built up, but that was back when I was doing efficiency settlement builds. Now I'm doing lived-in settlement builds. I've got a completely different strategy for building these, and I rebuilt it from the ground up with that in mind. I wanted it to look lived in. So, come along, let me show you what I've done. Up here is a new junk wall. I created this new junk wall, and I normally don't create walls in my settlements because I don't believe that they serve a purpose, but I did so here because there are two spawn points here. One right there, and one right there. The spawn points are within the bounds of this settlement, and I didn't want to risk building in this area because I didn't want my defenses to harm my settlers, my Brahmin, my crops, or any of my other resources. So I decided to corner this section off by building this junk wall here, and inside the junk wall I put these two guard posts with guards. Here's one guard standing at attention, and here's another guard standing at attention. These guard posts came with the thematic and practical mod, and I love them because they look like they're scrapped together with corrugated metal and barbed wire and plywood and old cars. They look so great. And then I put my primary defenses up here. Here's one big missile turret and laser turret tower stack, and then another one here, so that I've kind of got this spawn point location covered from both angles. I think that's gonna give me some pretty good coverage over there. Coming on inside and around the corner, I left this more or less alone because this actually has some invisible markers on the ground by this campfire for walking traders. You know, like Trash Can Carla or Cricket. When they come to your settlements, they like to hang around the campfires that are already in the settlements, and I didn't want to build something on top of these invisible markers, basically removing them. So I kept this one open for wandering traders. They can come on in and stay here. And then I put this trader outpost thing that came with the Bunker Hill. You have to complete a quest with Bunker Hill to get access to this, but it is in the vanilla game, and this attracts walking settlers, walking tradesmen as well. I don't have any here right now, but this does attract them. And then I've got a variety of junkyard dogs. I figured I'd put their dog houses over here near the entrance so that they can come to the settlement's defenses as necessary. Here's another one, and then I built up this platform so that the guards can get to their guard stations. Look, they've got a great view of both of those enemies' spawn points. Looking good. Alright, coming on up in here, and this is the primary home for the Warwick family. When you get this settlement, you have to do a couple of quests before you can get access to it, but this settlement is already inhabited by the Warwick family, including Roger Warwick, June, Janie, and their little boy, Wally, is that his name? Anyway, I originally had a whole bunch of sleeping bags littering the ground on the inside of this settlement, but I just basically squashed all of my settlers into this one little bunker like sardines, and it was horrible and cramped, and I hated that. So I wanted to restore this little bunker to the Warwick family. So these are all of the Warwick family beds, and this is theirs. They can come in here and sleep here, and it's all theirs. So I didn't decorate it up for them. I wanted them to be in control of what they want to do here. All I really did is I put down this car toy thing for the little boy. The little boy sleeps in this bed. It's a tiny bed. It's a lot smaller than these big adult beds. And he's got all his toys over there, so this is for the little boy. And then I basically put some chairs and other things around here just to kind of make it look a little bit more scratch-built and lived in. But that's about it. I kind of left that one alone. I put a big fire thing out here to add some heat and some light for people to stand up here and take a look at the pavilion over here. I've got a little coffee station for them to inject themselves with some caffeine in the morning, and of course a smoking station for those horrible, filthy smokers. Now over here, let me talk a little about this because before I built these big structures up here, this was pretty much a settler highway. If you've watched my videos in the past, you know that my settlements have lots of settlers. I've got 36 settlers in this settlement, and for some reason the settlers would walk all around these tight areas with these big tubs and stuff. And that was horrible for settler pathing because they would get stuck and then they would stop and they would cause all of these traffic jams, which was really annoying. So I elevated all of the structures that I built for my settlers to kind of get them off the ground to leave this open. And it worked because you don't see any settlers walking around here. So I left this alone. I put down a dog house for one of the guard dogs. And then over in this corner, I made a little pub. I used the thematic and practical mod to create this little shack for my bartender. And she's sitting here in her derby hat, wiping off the counters, getting ready to serve drinks. And then I put down these picnic tables bedecked with coffee and noodles and beer, all sorts of goodies for people to come on by, buy a drink from the bartender and sit down for a nice cold one. Over here, this is my market pavilion. If you remember my last build for the Warwick Homestead, I basically had a slightly elevated concrete platform here, and then I shoved 12 to 18 different trading stalls that came with the vanilla game, which was ugly and horrible, and that was the primary complaint that many of my viewers had. They would say, oh gosh, your settlements are so ugly with, what's going on over here? Oh, Mirelurks! Well, alright. Well, and I'm too late to the party. Well, we got attacked from some sea life, and I don't know why. But anyway, so this is my market pavilion. I decided to remove that big, ugly, sort of machine-made looking marketplace, and I instead created something that looked a little bit more natural. I used the thematic and practical mod to create these storefronts, and normally the merchants are standing there, but instead they decided to go kill some Mirelurks for some reason. This is my general trading goods, and I've got it decorated with some old world goodies, including cameras and globes and fans. Coming on up inside, and this is the marketplace, I figure wastelanders and travelers can walk up in here and then browse around some of the goods until their heart is contented. Over here is my chemistry shop. I've got this ghoul assigned to the chemist position, and she's got all sorts of chems and stuff for sale. And then around the corner is my armorer. She's assigned to the armory station, and I decorated it up with armor that dropped off of gunners and raiders that had recently attacked this settlement. And as you can see up in here, I used the OC Decorator mod to make this armor static objects so that they can't be knocked over. And then I just placed them on up in here to add decoration. And I've got some power armor up in here in these little shelving units, just so that people can come on by, check out the wares, and buy the armor that they want. Now over here, I decided to make this little merchant shop area not just available for people on foot, but for people who come by boat. I figure, you know, in this day and age, people are going to be coming by boat. So I built this little dock, and it connects to this other little walkway down here. Let's run over here to the primary dock, which is right here. I built my primary dock deep into the settlement because this is where the deep water is. This is all shallow water. You can see these really bumpy sandbars kind of sticking up. All this junk in the water. Oh look, there's another Mirelurk. Come on, buddy, die so that you stop attacking my settlements. I don't want you interrupting my videos. But then again, I'm already interrupting a video. Where'd it go? Oh. I wonder if my, where'd it go? Oh well, I guess I'll just continue on with the demonstration and assume that the attack is... Oh, nope, that was a bad assumption. Die, Mirelurk spawn. There we go. And we're safe. We can go back to the demonstration. Anyway, this is deeper water over here, and I figure this is much more practical. People are going to come on with their sailboats and whatever and moor their boats to this dock, and then they'll come across this little walkway to the merchant area over here. That way they don't have to walk through the farm if they don't want to. Anyway, I also figure this is going to be a utilitarian pier. The settlers can come on in here and fish. I've got some drying fish up in here, and a big basket filled with fish and goodies, drying racks, and even a grill for them to use. This is actually a functioning cooking station. If you want to use it, I believe I have to have a mod for that. And I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the mod that I used for that. Over here, I've got a little fish shack where people can store their lobster traps, their sawhorses for tanning hides, and all sorts of fishing goods. And then this is the primary farm. You'll recognize this. This pretty much looks exactly like the farm as you get it when you get the settlement. I basically condensed the crops a little bit to make sure that there was this walking avenue here, and so that I had some space towards the end here for my Brahmin feed troughs. I didn't want my Brahmin walking all over the settlement and getting into my houses and stuff, so really? Even with mods, they stand on the roofs, ladies and gentlemen. So I've got my Brahmin feed troughs over here, and my Brahmin are pretty good. They stick close to them, and they don't wander around the settlement, which I like. So there you go. This is the primary farm. The Warwick family and a bunch of other settlers farm it. And I've got it lit up with these nice lampposts that came with, what was it? Wasteland Workshop. That's right, it was Wasteland Workshop that gave me these really nice lampposts that make the marketplace and pavilion look great at night. All right, let's talk a little bit about this structure right here. This was one of the few other structures that came with the building, and I decided to turn it into a little bit of a lounge. This is where settlers can sit back and relax. There's even a working television. Let's see if I can find a tape to play.
Look, here is the new Band-Aid plastic strip with new Super Stick. It sticks better than any
But we're
other.
not going to be listening to this the entire demonstration, so I'll go ahead and turn that off. That came from the mod Videos of the Wasteland, which is a wonderful little mod for this sort of thing. It allows you to play all sorts of tapes, and other modders have made mods that go along with it, giving you more things to watch. But I decorated the walls up with some stuff from Nuka World, including these nice illuminated posters. And then I've got some furniture out here and a decorated coffee table with all sorts of goodies. And even one of these little gambling stations, a slot machine, from the Vault Tech Workshop. Now, let me talk about my strategy with this. So, first of all, I was hesitant to build some housing units on top of these water treatment reservoirs because I figure, well, it's going to smell really horrible. But one of my viewers to my live stream made a good point and said, look, after 200 years, it's likely that all of the human fecal matter that was being processed in this plant has been evaporated or has been washed away, even though the water is brown. But that's the strategy I went with because this is a smallish kind of settlement. I mean, it's large, but there are so many buildings that are taking up space, and I needed to build housing for my settlers, so I had to build on top of these. So I built the structures on top of these big reservoirs, and then I supported the structures with scaffolding that came with Contraptions Workshop. I also wanted to make sure that settler pathing worked well, so as a foundation, as a starting point for building these platforms, I put down these stairs. These stairs, I have found anyway, are excellent for settler pathing. Settlers walk up and down them really well, and if you snap something to them, whatever you snap to it, settlers tend to use really well as well. Down here, I've got some of my water purifiers in this mucky water, and then I wired things underneath so that the interior can have electricity. There are two floors, an upper floor and a lower floor, and in order for the power to reach the lower floor, I decided to put those pylons right there underneath, attached to the floor underneath, and then the ambient power seeps through the floor and allows these lights to work. So, up here on this first floor is actually the laundry facility. I've got all of these wonderful laundry machines and then some pre-soaked bins, and the settlers have their clothing stacked out here and a bunch of laundered clothing over in the corner. Nice and utilitarian. And then over here is the primary dining room. You see, I love it. The settlers don't have any problem using this building, and I'm so glad that they're not crowding in one spot like they did at Vault 88. Anyway, I put a bunch of tables up here and decorated them with the Wasteland's favorite foods. I put some entertainment in the corner, a little bit of a jukebox, and a working stereo. This plays holotapes. And that's just floor number one. Floor number two is the kitchen. This is the primary kitchen. These are working stoves. The settlers will come by and use it. Filled refrigerator, filled with all sorts of goodies. This is the primary larder. I've got a bunch of food stacked over here. I figure, you know what, with the Minutemen now securing the Commonwealth, this is no longer a poor wasteland. This wasteland is becoming richer by the day. So all sorts of wonderful food stored here. This is where they prepare all their food. I've got a bunch of kitchen utensils over here, stacked bottles and dishes and all sorts of goodies. And then this is a big stack of food. I've got Brahmin milk, purified water, carrots up there. Of course, the settlement has to have carrots. These are unique crafting stations that came with a mod called Northland Diggers. This is a fish weighing station that produces fish. The settler assigned to it will come on by and do a unique weighing fish animation, which is cool. And this is a brewery. The settler assigned to this mixes up brews, and this generates alcohol, which is nice. Coming on in here, this is my settler bathroom. It's got stalls over here for settlers to use the toilet and a washing sink that the settlers will actually use. I've got towels stacked over here. And then over here are my working showers. The settlers will use these showers to wash off the grime of the day. I've got soap on the wall, and they function. They look great, don't they? Now, this building exits down to this catwalk, and there were some mods I found on the Nexus that repaired this broken catwalk. The frustrating thing about this settlement is you can't scrap that broken catwalk down there. But you know what? Since I was planning to build on top of... Goodness gracious, this settlement is just a hotbed of activity. What was that? I don't even know what that was. Anyway, since I was planning on building on top of these reservoirs anyway, I figured, you know what, I'm not going to bother with installing the mod to fix this. But if you want to fix the catwalk, there are a couple of mods that will work for that. Alright, coming around the corner, and this is my workshop. This is a really cool ammo crafting station. This station will generate ammunition if you have a settler assigned to it. Also comes with Northland diggers, and I decorated it up with some ammunition over here. Then around the corner here, I've got a bunch of chemicals and tools and utilities on the wall. And then this is a nuclear processing station. This will generate nuclear material if you have a settler assigned to it, which I do. Then I just have some random decorations over here. Crates, a whole bunch of components, and then a table filled with tools and wood and stuff. This is the terminal that I use to manage my settlement management software. Here's the second big vat of water, and as you can see, I also have my water purifiers in there, and the bottom is wired with all those conduits, just like the other one. But this house is much larger because this serves as the primary living facility for the rest of the settlers. The Warwick family has their little alcove in that bunker, and this one is built with a whole bunch of scrap metal and scrap wood and scrap lumber, all hewn together to make this nice, big communal living quarters. I have 18 beds on the bottom floor here. Each of these beds is decorated. Some of them have their own personal storage and containers. And then I've got seating areas because not every settler in this settlement is assigned to a task. So I have a lot of wandering settlers who just wander around, and they're going to need places to sit. I've found that if you place chairs and couches and benches all over your settlement, then settlers will use much more of the settlement. They tend to walk around a lot more of it. Heading on upstairs, and you can see that I used a combination of the barn tiles that came with Far Harbor with the workshop tiles that came with Contraptions Workshop. I figure they're only going to be using stuff that they've found, driftwood, scrap wood, reclaimed wood and steel, so it's not going to look new or unrusted. So I wanted to kind of combine things and throw things together. This is actually a double bed that comes with the thematic and practical mod, and I love this because it saves so much space. These two beds work as two functioning beds, and the settlers will sleep in them, and they save a lot of space. So I have one in each of these corners, and then I believe up here I've got 14 or so different beds, and I decided to keep this wall open with windows so that you can have a beautiful view of downtown Boston. You can even see the castle over in the distance. That's Fort Independence right there. So this settlement has a wonderful view of downtown Boston, the castle, the freeway, Adam Cat's garage, and a bunch of other really cool stuff. I decorated it up with some containers and some lamps, and as you can see, I've got these nice chandeliers up here. I love the look of these chandeliers that came with the vanilla game. They just don't produce a lot of light. So what I ended up doing is placing light bulbs inside the chandelier, so that just pushes out way more light. You can't see the hanging naked light bulb. All you see is the chandelier, but they produce way more light. Alright, coming on down, let's turn around and head up this walkway here. Let me turn around to show you how I have it wired up top. As you can see, I've got the wiring on the top of this structure and that one, where apparently I still have a settler on top of the roof. At least it's not a Brahmin this time, right? Anyway, this is what I did to make sure that the top floor was wired for electricity. And then coming on down here, this is my fusion generator. If you remember my old settlement build, I had this big elevated stack of this big elevated structure filled with generators, which I didn't like. It was really noisy. It produced a lot of smoke. And so instead, I had to have that since I built this settlement long before I installed Wasteland Workshop. So instead, I installed this fusion generator that came with Wasteland Workshop, and this powers the entire settlement. It gives me all the power that I need. It powers all the way down through here, so that this building is powered and that building is powered, and then I power things along this way to power my turrets over there and the front end defenses. This is my Minuteman artillery cannon. I've told you in previous videos that one of my goals with these new lived-in settlement builds is to have a Minuteman artillery cannon at every single settlement so that the Minutemen have greater range over all of the Commonwealth. And so I've got one here, and it has a great view of almost every angle, I mean, except for there. There is this giant pillar sticking out of the roof here. I guess it was a water reservoir, so I suppose that would block it, but oh well. It's a fantasy. I'm not going to worry myself over it. So there you go, ladies and gents. That is my new and improved Warwick Homestead. I had so much fun putting it together, and I actually streamed myself putting this together live twice. You can check out the live streams. I've got them on my channel. And you can watch my decision-making as I built this settlement. It was a whole lot of fun. I plan to do that more in the future. But I'd love to hear your comments. What do you think of the final version of my Warwick Homestead? Do you like it? Do you have any comments? I read all of the comments to my video, and I respond to the best ones. If you like this video, please subscribe for more videos. I not only do settlement builds, but a bunch of other stuff, including lore videos, and sometimes I even delve into the code of the game to divine its inner workings. I produce a new video each and every day, so please subscribe for more content. And if you like what I do and you'd like to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers get access to my private Discord server, and they get notice when I do live streams, and we have a good old chat over on Discord. But more than anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just glad that you're here watching. Your views fuel this channel and allow me to do what I do. So thank you so very much for watching. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you have a great day, and I will see you all tomorrow.